and welcome to Priya's Corner. This is where you get all your political buzz, news of the week, and also anything interesting that's happening. Could be a book, could be a party, could be just some political buzz from the corridors of power. But this week I'm going to be talking about something that is not so secret. The Prime Minister's 3-hour-long podcast with Lex Friedman. Now, of course, we've all heard it. Why did he do the podcast? That is the more interesting question rather than what he said. Because with this Prime Minister, the medium, the timing, the perspective, all that is very important. He takes the whole picture into account when he gives out his messages. And as you know, the podcast, it touches on everything. I mean, nothing is off the table. Geopolitical, domestic, spiritual, his own upbringing, his equation with the RSS, and even the Godhra riots. Let's first talk about the way he handled the riots question. First of all, I've heard this question being asked to him after a very long time. I can't remember the last time someone fielded this question to him. As you know, he was the Chief Minister in 2002 when the riots took place post the burning in Godhra. So the Gujarat riots, in fact, the Prime Minister, when he answers the question, he puts it into perspective. He talks about global terrorism. He talks about the times that were, what was happening in the US, what was happening elsewhere. And then he talks about what happened in Gujarat. But not what happened in Gujarat, what happened before the riots. He's saying there were at least 250 riots that took place before the riots that happened post the Godhra incident. And after that, he says not a single riot has taken place. Message delivered. Now, this is not the last word on the Gujarat riots, but it is a pretty final word coming from the man himself. Also, he's saying, let's go beyond. He's not saying it, but it is implied. Let's go beyond and look at the larger picture. What does Modi stand for? Now, again, perspective. This is his third term. As he told us in Parliament not too long ago, he is all set to fight another term and get a fourth term. He wants to break Nehru's record, of course. But at the end, when Prime Ministers are remembered, they're not remembered in terms of history dates. They are remembered in terms of legacy. What is the legacy that the Prime Minister is looking for? Of course, his whole competition, said or unsaid, is with Prime Minister Nehru, the only one to complete 3+ terms, whose record he wants to beat. But he's also looking for something for the history books, which is why in this podcast he comes across, he's positioning India and thereby himself as a sort of superpower. It's the Vishwa Guru image, it's the statesman-like, it is the spiritual legacy of India and thereby himself. He's talking in terms of context, he talks about death, he talks about rebirth, he talks about his 1+1 theory, that he's never alone because with him Paramatma hamesha hai, God is with him. So there is that religious spiritual affirmation. There is a whole lot that is on the table. It is also about India's place in the world. He talks about how he went and told Putin it is not an era of war. He's saying, I'll tell the Ukraine also that look, battlefields are not really where you get your peace and where you find your legacy. So he can be an intermediator. He is someone who is preaching a certain context. He talks about his meeting with Donald Trump. Remember that Howdy Modi moment? He refers to that. And he says, at a time when India and Trump's US equations are in a question mark, he talks about the time when he did that Howdy Modi rally sort of with Trump in the US. And he's saying, at that time Trump was the US president and he was not, the US security is such that they don't like the president or the political leader to do a walkthrough with the crowds. But Modi told Trump, let's go and just wave at everybody, let's go amongst the audience. And Trump, because he trusted me, he came with me, and they show both of them holding hands and going. So again, the trust factor is brought back again. His equation with Trump is brought back, and it worked because Trump has retweeted that. China has come out with a positive feedback to his interview. So in that sense, he has achieved what he wants to. It is a spiritual, statesman-like image of himself, someone who is a leader, someone who can take people along. The past is behind him. He's all set to fight another term, take India ahead, and in a global context, the legacy of India, yoga, history, cultural heritage, all that is on the table. So in terms of branding, it's amazing. And I'm seeing a lot of these freewheeling conversations. He did one podcast with Nikhil Kamath recently. Again, this is a Prime Minister it is said of him that his interviews are scripted, that he doesn't talk much to the media. It's a one-way communication. Guess what? This kind of nails that comment also. So narrative building, image building, all that Prime Minister Modi is an expert at. We saw it firsthand himself. Modi, the man who master of the message, we saw that in this podcast.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.